walk you through the anatomy of a trade and from kind of start to finish and broader context as well. And it really starts before we even open up today. So as I get a little pen tool here, yesterday. So this right here is yesterday's profile, and it was a trend day, meaning that the low was in the first hour and high was in the last hour. Now, typically, when we have a trend day, what ends up happening is that the point of control, which was right here, ends up rotating higher. And they did a little bit of volume up here, but it was really, they failed to pull value higher. So as we came into today, whenever you have a trend day, and it was from 3 days of balance, that, and this is all last week, right? So this is last week. Notice that we had a gap to start the week. All the lows were in Globex. High was in Globex, and very much a balancing week, which had a prominent node right here at 3340. So we start yesterday, gap above Friday's VPOC, open drive into a trend day. Now, there are a couple references that we're looking for today. One, we were looking for early pullbacks to, like when you have a trend day, you'd expect higher prices. All things being equal, you expect higher prices. And so if we got an early pullback to 83, that would clean up that value, and that could be an opportunity to push for at least here. There's 3402 was a naked point of control from back on the 15th. And we had another one up here at 3424 as another prior reference that goes back, I believe, to the beginning of September. So those are the references. Now, as we opened, and we'll look over here at this profile first. Okay, we opened in range, so two bars inside of the prior day's range. We knew that we had Fed Chairman Powell speaking, and after he spoke, we actually had a poor low on the high. So we had a couple periods where they had the same high, but then we came and took out IB low. Well, that's not coming to 83 early, that's coming to 83 later. So that had us looking short. We actually took the short there looking for the target to 83 and never got there. We never got there. And then in fact, not only that, but we rotated back up through the bulk of the profile and cleaned up these poor highs to go neutral. Okay, so neutral is when you take out both the IB high and the IB low. Now at that point, what's still going on? This is still an open reference. Actually, this is still an open reference, and the most traded price of recent memory is down here at 3340. So they're all still valid references. Okay, but there's no catalyst, and even leading into the day. And this is not the full session. But these are 5-minute bars, really kind of from this area right here. And what I want to show you now is I want to zoom in here. And we were talking to our team about 3413, 3424 area to look for a fade. We were actually looking to fade this. Now, what we were looking to fade to is really just back. First target is back here to 97. Okay, so we're literally just looking back for here. Now, there's the potential for this, although that's a lower probability unless there's a catalyst. Here's a hint. This is all catalyst. This is the movement of the market off of news from the president that he's going to stop negotiations on a stimulus bill until after the election, which there had been almost a foregone conclusion that we would get some additional stimulus before the election. It seems like an easy political win. Maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe. But again, how do you position for this? Because this you can't know. You can't know. We know it's out there as headline risk, but we can't know when something like that's going to happen. And if you try to have a news service to to know and even know how the market might react to that, you can't. You just kind of have to let the behavior go. But here's what I was paying attention to, specifically, is that from this break, all this volume in here, as we pushed higher, we had a strong. I was just watching strong deltas, so strong buying deltas, 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 strong buying, and then up here as we were reaching up towards that 24 level, we had the strongest of this whole period. So what I typically do is to know when an auction is going to exhaust is, you have to trade back through some degree of strength. If you can't trade back through that strength, then you're not going to get any follow through. It actually happened earlier in the session, like this was kind of over lunch hour. There was actually a little bit of a selling held, and then here was some selling strength. Notice what happens when they trade back through the top of the selling strength. And that's why we always talk about leaning on strength to have your stops. Well, so if you were long, you were trailing the strength, you'd have a stop here. If you're not long but you're looking to get short, you're looking for the place that the long might get stopped out, and so have an alert like right here, up into this area. So when they broke this on this 5 minute, that was a clue, especially when it came back. This is what we call an order flow reversal. Okay, and again, this happens all in 5 minutes, but you have a strong delta in the very next one. This was almost 5 times as much selling as the prior 5 minute was buying. And you have to be quick, but as soon as your alert goes and you look and see the deltas are higher here than here, you just sell. And then the risk is here, and then we knew where the target one is, and then you go find out where the news is later. Like, this doesn't even give you enough time to really figure out what the news is. And again, you don't have to know what the news is. You just have to know that where are you targeting, where are you positioned. So the move back here to 96 was the high probability. So that place is going. But watching the tempo here, you can see how different this tempo is from this. If this doesn't hold at 97, because we had a narrow IB, although unlikely. So all things being equal, but when you again add a catalyst like a big news event like this, that changes the story, and we take the IB low out again. That then makes 83 easy peasy. And look that they sliced through 83. Then now we're starting to watch this. Okay, now this is an open drive, open type. So that means that there's likely stops below there. So notice when we first come in here, we pushed through that. They tried to bounce, pushed through it again, and then broke. Where's the next spot? A naked VPOC down here. And then ultimately at the end of the day, they get down to the 20-day or monthly VPOC. All stuff to and when you have a large catalyst like that, that is what we call the other time frame trader, you have to go look at cascading references of a higher time frame value to get a sense of where might this thing go and where might it finish. And overall, at the end of the day, we have what we consider a double distribution, because there was a distribution up here and there's a distribution down here, and there's a bunch of singles. So think about this like a midday gap under this 83 here. That's going to be the line in the sand for tomorrow, and we're going to expect lower prices. And in fact, even in the short session after the close, we've already pushed below this 33.40. So then the question is, well, where to next? Okay, and that's again where I go back out. Let me update the composite here real quickly. So we've got a little bit of a node here at 3,300. We've got all of this gap. But then we have 3287 is a small node. We have single prints down here, but we don't really have really good support all the way back until we get to 3233. We'll have to see what the appetite for selling is tomorrow. I don't know that we get all the way down. I mean, that's 100 points. But we'll see. Right now we're gapping lower. We may, because we have FOMC minutes, kind of chop around here tomorrow. We could also see what the resolve is on Trump about the stimulus package, but definitely mark this area up here. In fact, right here, is where a lot of sellers came in and just jammed on it. You can see this highlighted blue here, right there. If we break there, then the next reference again, 3308, 3287, through these single prints, and then you've got a couple small references, and then back to 3233. So this is now a day to lean against for lower prices. Okay. Yeah, let that simmer. See how that helps you, and we'll go from there. Couple quick ideas again for tomorrow. If we push lower towards this gap zone early, towards this 3308, gap rules will be in play. If we set the establish the IB and then take IB high, we'd be looking for 3340 to the upside. If we extend IB high above 3340, then there's the potential to push up towards these singles. And if we open inside, then it's do we extend IB high or low? And if we go low, then we'd be targeting this way. We'll see what happens overnight.